Hello and welcome to this week's Talking Low League, brought to you by Talking Boz. I'm your host, Dylan. I think that's actually the first time I've said that. I think I've done this for 8 weeks and not actually said that I'm hosting it. I've been listening to a few podcasts this week and people say, oh, I'm Dylan and I'm doing this. So I thought I'd even do it, just see what happens.
Why are they saying they're Dylan?
I don't know. I'm a wee bit freaked out, to be honest. I'm a wee bit freaked out, but we'll move on because I've not been sleeping. So it's been another exciting week of lower league action. There's been cup replays, had Glasgow Cup action. Ali, I don't want to hear about it. We've got a couple of days left of the January transfer window, incomings and outcomings across the country. I'm sure we'll touch on that. Plenty of movement across the place, and as you can probably tell from our social media build up this week, we've got a very special guest, and Derek, also known as @MozzaPlays on social media. You're a BSC Glasgow club ambassador, Lower League catch-up podcast host, football manager, streamer, researcher, much more. Thank you very much, mate, for coming on the podcast. We've been looking forward to this.
I'll absolutely take that build up. No, thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
No, really looking forward to it. We've been looking forward to this for a while. I remember when we posted about having you on the podcast. I feel as if our whole 8 weeks have been vindicated just from that reaction, to be honest.
Well, we've been looking at for someone else's coattails to kind of ride for a bit. So
yeah, that's exactly it. That's it. We've used Johnny and Daniel enough. So anyway, let's just get fired into it.
Okay.
Weekend review. So we're going to review some of the weekend's results. And Derek, since you are the special guest on this week's podcast, and this is something that we spoke about, off air, off camera as well now. We have wanted to talk about this much more than we've got a chance to. This week we're going to start with the Lowland League. So what results in the Lowland League stood out for us? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot right away, mate, but Derek, what result in the Lowland League stood out for you at the weekend?
And I'm sorry to steal a result here because I know somebody will have it, but Berwickshire was a game that stood out for me because obviously it's the two teams that have been relegated since automatically playoffs came in. And Berwick have been slowly improving. Basically, they started for nothing this season. A lot of people didn't realise that, I think. So there was a lot of kind of comments going that were a wee bit unfair on them. I felt that they had turmoil in the boardroom, which obviously doesn't help. Ian Little, who presided over Whitehill Welfare when they were kind of rock bottom, and did improve them to a point, went for kind of 5-goal losses to 1-goal losses, but not enough. So they didn't have a great situation building a squad for scratch again. They only had a few boys that were basically youth boys. But it was interesting now that they've started picking up points again to see Shire. I should say Stirlingshire because I've not said that. I'm too used to just going by the short names.
No, please say. I'm sure most of our audience will get it, don't worry.
It was interesting to see them really kicking on and getting the result because again, they didn't start well this year with the money they've spent, and they've got a really good squad. For anyone that doesn't know the Lowland, you could put your Stirlingshire squad in League 2 and they'd be competitive. I'd say they might not be kind of above bottom, but they definitely take points off teams. And it's a bit of it's a blow for Berwick because lately they've been waiting for a scalp to basically announce, right, we're back, we're moving again. And it was more the manner of it more than anything else. For looking at the way the match went, it was just total domination.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, that's actually fun, and that's the game that I've got. It's kind of my standout for the Lowland League for the weekend there, and Berwick 12th in the league, he's still in third. You'll be like, well, going there 3-0 victory, perhaps routine, maybe some people would call it, but still a bit. I mean, Berwick got relegated for League 2 last year, and it just doesn't seem to be happening for them at all. I mean, he's still, like you say, it seems to be coming together slowly but surely after the investment. Over the summer, just a few, for example, bringing in Peter MacDonald was kind of one of the standout signings in the summer.
Bobby Barr as well.
Bobby Barr as well, who obviously is just today at the time of recording has just switched to Forfar as well, which is a good signing. Stuart Malcolm bringing in clearly a player he knows from the Lowland League and beyond. So it was quite a standout result on paper. And also this week as well, I've kind of been keeping tabs on, Berwick kind of restructuring off the pitch as well. Maybe finally did it like you were saying, maybe hopefully getting a wee bit of momentum both, maybe firstly off it. Hopefully that translates on it as well.
Yeah. I got a question about Berwick. We often talk about kind of catchment areas for football teams. Do you think that one of the reasons Berwick have struggled going into the Lowland League is that it's a division down, and maybe players don't want to play in the Lowland League considering some of the travelling they have to do, and given the kind of area that Berwick are in, maybe it's easier to play in like the more north of England leagues?
I think, to be honest with you, Berwick's catchment's been more Edinburgh for the last few years. When we were in League 2, generally Edinburgh was the area they focused on, which again doesn't help now they've dropped down, because even in the same league you've got Spartans who are established, you've got Civil Service Strollers with Gary Jordan, who was Edinburgh City manager, who's recruitment second to none. So they've kind of had to re-establish their links in the local area, and even when you look at that, you've got entrenched teams like Gallifrey Rovers that they kind of know it better. So yes, they've kind of been, it was more the boardroom turmoil, I'd say, that affected them, because up until the start of the season they barely had a squad. And even then they've lost guys like Darryl Healy, who showed a bit of promise. Suddenly he's at East Kilbride. It's a different ball game for them now. They're not the big fish anymore. So a lot of people might have thought, they'll potentially bounce back up, but the league's got to a point now where teams that come down will probably be more likely to be mid-table and get a year of consolidation rather than having a chance to come straight back.
I think you look at the likes of East Stirlingshire as an example of that perhaps as well. A team who, they were the first team to come down from the pyramid, changes and stuff like that, and they're still there now. It looks as if they're investing on and off the park to change that, but they're still there, still competing, sitting third in the league, as we record this, and obviously try to get themselves back in the title picture, but I think it might be a wee bit of a stretch, to be honest. But what other results stood out in the Lowland League for you guys this weekend?
Yeah, I've got a game, but first I'm Ross and this is Ali, since Dylan just forgot about
did I not do that?
No, but it's okay.
Wow.
It's all
you
right.
were going on about other podcasters saying that they were you.
I've had a disaster.
For ages.
Wow.
Anyway,
people know you. See, to be fair, people know you more than they know me, right? So that's fine.
You guys are the best intro in the history of this podcast.
That's true.
See, the guests get looked after, okay? You guys are on here every week, right? Ross, what game are you going to talk about?
It's a great first guest introduction and it'll be the last. My game is Dalbeattie Star against Bonnyrigg Rose. Bonnyrigg running out 1-0 winners. On paper it's not the most impressive result. The team sitting second beating the team 14th, but as we've talked about, Kelty Hearts are kind of coasting a little bit at the top of the league. Beat Civil Service Strollers as well last weekend, and as we talked about kind of off mic, Bonnyrigg have got a good number of games in hand, and I think them just kind of churning along until they can get those games played keeps them right in there with Kelty and gives them a really good chance to get to the top of the Lowland League. Bonnyrigg obviously coming off the back of running Clyde really close to getting through into the next round of the Scottish Cup as well recently, so it just seems as if they've got a good bit of momentum behind them just now. Obviously Derek, you'll know better than us. It seems as if that kind of top two just now at the top of the Lowland League is keeping it really, really interesting. Really interesting.
Bonnyrig's one of these teams that they all seem to do it. 5 minutes to go, they're drawn, they'll get the win, And by the way, how many times did folk have a go at their pitch on Sports Scene?
I know, I had a go at the pitch as well. But I'm of the opinion both teams play on it. But play on.
That's one of these things with lower leagues, isn't it?
That's it.
Absolutely.
They grind it out, and they've got a really good strike tandem. George Hunter's been doing brilliant for them this season. St Johnstone fans will probably know George. Keenan McGahey's another guy, he's well known in lower leagues, and he's just a unit, an absolute unit. It's tough to get the ball off him. So they all run Kelty close, and I got a wee bit of jip for saying I think they might actually beat Kelty, but we'll see. See how it plays out.
I think we kind of touted Bonnyrigg as well, didn't we? We had this discussion, was it a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I think that
it's
starting to certainly become a two-horse race, whereas, and we spoke about this off air as well, is at the start of the season perhaps with the kind of gap that Kelty were building up at the top of the league, you'd think, well, that was kind of done and dusted. It's going to be, right, who do they face in the playoffs? But do you know what? They might not even be there if Bonnyrigg keep up this kind of turn of form. Robbie Horn doing really good stuff there, seems really well respected. as well. So no, it'll be really exciting to see that which is now turning into a 2-horse race. Sorry, East Stirlingshire fans that are listening, but it seems to be turning into that anyway.
Yeah, I was impressed with the two boys up top for Bonnyrigg when I saw them. Just really good at playing with their back to goal, and they have to kind of hold the ball up. And as you were saying about their pitch as well, they've built a team to play on it, and their style of football. And you know what, fair play to them. I really enjoyed my trip to Bonnyrigg. It seemed like a nice wee place, but first time I'd been. But my tie is a BSC Glasgow 4, Braves 1. And the reason I picked this is because we were talking about BSC are 11 points off Kilty. They've got 2 games in hand against Kilty, and I believe they still to play Kilty twice. Good chance to maybe go top and sneak your way up there. But also I thought it was important. It was away from home, wasn't it? Caledonian Braves sitting 7th in the league. Winning 4-1 away from home is always fantastic, but also very important for you guys to keep your momentum going into these cup ties as well.
Definitely.
Scoring
goals,
keeping that feel-good factor. So I thought, were you at the game?
I wasn't. I never made it in the end. But that's purely just because I was making up for lost time, because I'll be away at the games and doing other stuff all the next 3 weeks, let's be honest. But it was a banana skin in waiting. Yeah. And I was really impressed with the result, I'll be honest, because Cali Braves are no joke as well. People probably don't know who they are when we're talking about this, but they were Edusport Academy, so they might know them through that, but they've actually built some really unique. They used to be the team that were known for having French students, and that was it. Now it's mainly a team of kind of young, talented Scots guys, a couple of journeymen in there that have got a bit of experience, and all these young French guys have got plenty of talent and raw ability backing them up. So they're a really interesting outfit, with a new ground as well.
It seems like a really interesting project, and it was nice to hear some positive comments about Alliance Park as well after the stick it was apparently getting earlier on in the season. But no, it seems like Ricky Waddle, who was the gaffer there, previously had obviously Colin Cameron as assistant before he went and joined Murray at Airdrie. I think they're doing really well. For what would argue is their first quote-unquote proper season. As Caledonian Braves get some really interesting talent in there, and some of the highlights and stuff, and some of their off-park work as well is going really well, so I think they'll be a force to be reckoned with in the next couple of years.
Their off-park work's fantastic. There's no equal to it. The non-leagues, and I'd argue most of the SPFL could learn something from them as well.
Absolutely, agreed.
And I think, like you were saying, having these kind of journeymen around these young players is kind of important. Like Ricky Waddle's a guy I remember playing in the Lowland League, and then in the lower league, and he always was a guy that just was technically really good with the ball and always seemed to know his positioning, and he was just like kind of a really solid player, and someone that can pass on knowledge. Colin Cameron obviously was a bit of a coup for them as well, the experience he's got. I believe Simon Menzen's the under-23 coach as well. Another guy who's been there, done it, and I think
they've got Davey Winters there as well, so he's still doing a job. So
there you go. That's a lot. They could probably play. You know what I mean? They probably still go out and get results. But no, I think it was a great result for BSC, and I think Cali Braves will, in the next few seasons, kind of push on as well, get themselves up the leagues as well.
Absolutely. While we're on BSC, how did you feel watching or listening to the cup replay and seeing the result and stuff like that? Did you have a preference over whether it was going to be Hibs or Dundee United?
Not really. I was happy either way, because when the draw came out, we basically said, well, we'd have had either of those on any given day, so we were going to sell out the ground. We're going to have a great occasion, delighted. So I actually think we'll probably get the harder draw purely because Dundee United hate Alloa. And that would have been interesting.
The dynamic at the ground that day.
But no, it'll be good cracking for us. Obviously, it's the furthest, the joint furthest that any non-league team's ever gone in the cup. So we're basically East Kilbride got to a couple of years back with Celtic, and again, it's putting the league in the map. Look, here we are talking about it. So.
Exactly. No, it's great, and obviously no bias here, but the Sunday's the best day of the Scottish Cup next round.
That's what a question I wanted to ask you, Derek, was see when you were going into this round for the draw, I know I was looking at BSC Glasgow as probably our best chance of progressing. I think that could have been a really even game. then I kind of was like, fuck, I just want to take the money at this point, cash out. So I was glad with the draw we got. Were you looking at Clyde and thinking maybe we can go one further, or were you in the same boat where you're like, give me a big tie and we'll cash out, assuming that both our teams...
There was a bit of
cash out.
Both our teams cash out, you know what I mean? Which,
we want our teams to win, but we might cash out at the end of the day.
That's it.
Take the money at the same time and go through, you know?
That's
exactly,
it.
There was a bit of a mixed opinion, to be honest, because obviously the chairman fancied an Old Firm away day, because that would have been 20 years worth minimum of funding for the club.
Yeah.
But the players quite fancied a go at getting through to the quarters.
Yeah.
And being the first ever non-league team to get there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very unlikely with Hibs, obviously.
Yeah.
But a home tie always gives you a chance.
Exactly.
So the way we thought about it was an away tie is good for the money, but a home tie, never say never.
Yeah,
exactly.
Know? And we're on the telly, and it's brilliant, full stop. So
absolutely.
regardless of the result, this point.
It's nice to hear that as well. The players saying, obviously, they want a game that gets them through. What an accolade that would be.
Aye.
You know, it'd be the squad that took the first ever non-league team into that stage of the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, and they may well be. That's the thing,
Absolutely.
they may well be.
Absolutely.
Maybe Clyde v BSC in the quarters.
That would be dream come true. The beers would
You have one eye in the semi, Derek, I'll tell you that.
The beers would certainly be in that podcast.
Be a few games for Europe at that point.
Could you imagine?
So let's have a wee brief look at League 2. So kind of going the opposite way what we would do this week.
Okay.
So let's look at League 2. And a result that stood out for me was Stirling 1, Elgin City 2.
Well, this is a first.
What's that?
With the same game.
Oh, sorry. That's very, very bizarre. Ali, you're absolutely beeling.
Stirling 1, Elgin 2.
So surprised you're no march back to the pub. And yet again, the man himself, Shane Sutherland, bagging another goal. Elgin firing themselves into that fourth spot. And even though it's a cracking win and it could propel them into the playoffs this season, slightly bittersweet knowing that Sutherland's not going to be there next season.
Yeah.
And I think that going there, Stirling were starting to get a bit of momentum going in the league. You know, we've spoke about them in the podcast before about how they're perhaps underachieving this season. You know, and they kind of started to get a bit of momentum, and that stalled things slightly. And Elgin have put themselves back in a great position for the playoffs.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. Can I just say as well, this was my game of the week last week. So.
Oh yes, it was indeed. It was indeed. Nice mention back. If you've not listened or watched it, please do. But yeah, no, it's a good result for Elgin, and I think coming at the business end of the season, they will be desperate yet again, not just to go into the playoffs, which you have done before, but actually go into it with a winning mentality as well.
That's the thing. I think there's only something like maybe 4 or 6 points between 4th and 7th.
That's right.
8th,
Yeah, it's very tight
off the top of my head. So it's going to be a really, really interesting playoff mix in League 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went with Queen's Park and Albion Rovers. Albion Rovers were 2-0 up. Looked to be getting some points, and then Queen's Park came back with a never say die attitude that seems to be something McKinnon's managed to install into the boys. Came back 2 each. Ray McKinnon doing wonders at Queen's Park, and
the Revolution. The
running joke on Twitter right now is every time a player releases someone is at Queen's Park announced tonight.
Well, let's briefly touch on that. Rumour has it that Peter Grant, who's centre back for Morton, been playing all season, had an offer he simply couldn't turn down to go to Queen's Park, and he was offered an extension at Morton. Now you've got is it Craig Slater as well? He's now just signed on at Queen's Park, and Gary Harkins has been released from Partick Thistle today. And we put that out on our Twitter account, and the Queen's Park fans just coming back announce Harkins. It's just it's brilliant. Very Ray McKinnon, but no, it's so intriguing what's going on. Yeah,
and this result as well is a team that I think will maybe have got one eye on the playoffs. Yeah, especially now coming in. They've done a great job recruitment. Something to do with obviously they're offering professional deals now. Michael Tidsell's still a free agent. Worked with Ray McKinnon before. But personally, I want him at Clyde. So if you could stay away from him, I was
literally about to say there, Ali, after the Clyde game at the weekend, going in the area lounge, just walking around everybody. What do you think of Tidsell? I think he'd be a good addition to the squad.
Kenny Miller's still touting for business.
Kenny Miller was at the Wraith Rovers game at the weekend.
Oh, was he? Right,
and he was dressed like a Peaky Blinder. So that was quite fun.
Well, at least he was dressed better than he was in sports scene anyway before.
Oh, God, that was...
So,
anyway,
tune in to Talking Fashion. A new podcast will be launching soon.
Coming for the guy in the Peaky Blinders hat.
I know, right? That's it. A Kobe Bryant jersey underneath my jumper as well.
Nice touch.
It was good, quite funny this week seeing Wraith fans as well tweeting the club every day with it's Miller time gif.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very much here for that part.
I like it.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tids are head there as well. Basically, what I was trying to say.
I think the squad they're building up is fascinating. But Derek, what do you? Obviously, I know you do so much around the Lowland League. You do the podcast, BSC, everything around it. Do you get a chance to catch up on the rest of the kind of Championship, League 1, League 2? Can you manage to keep your eye on it as much?
Yeah, I mean, League 2 is where naturally most of their focus goes because potentially there's a club coming down to see us.
Of course, yeah.
Like, talking of which, and I've just pulled up the results because I had a wee look earlier on. I was kind of, the way I see it, there's 3 teams most likely to go down. And it just, plain and simple, the bottom 3, you've got Albion Rovers, you've got, Stenhousemuir, and you've got Brecon.
Yep.
They've all started spending a wee bit of money and trying to improve, which is interesting because we spoke about it before the podcast, but teams never used to do that.
Yeah.
They used to just go, it's a lost season, we'll start again next year. Can't do that anymore,
like that,
especially with the talent coming up. So I was going to pick out either the Cove game purely because they've came up and they've just been relentless. But I think that's an easy one to pick. So I'll go for the Edinburgh City game because for what I've been seeing on the past few weeks, Stenny's been pretty much in every single game, last 4 or 5 games, and they're just not getting it done. They've got 1 win out of it, but they just seem to be missing chances to get 3 points every week. And again, it happened that they went a man down, they've ended up losing a close 1-2-1, and I know Edinburgh City's been pretty good this year, grinding out results, but I've kind of fear for Stenny, I'll be honest. They just don't seem to be, when they've had the chances, they've not been taking them. And Brecon, you'd expect to improve a wee bit, I think.
Yeah,
do you hear that, Alistair?
Ali is absolutely raging.
I don't fear. I don't fear.
That's good. Even guests are coming on and questioning it.
That's it.
But
because you've been getting them bungs, buying them pints in the gate and stuff.
We've been talking to we've been having chats with the Talking Boys finance team.
That's it.
But also, no, I think you're right. I think obviously losing. I think losing Davy Marsh is quite a big one for Stenny as well. And it just doesn't kind of bode well. I think they're still perilously close to, you've got the likes of Hopkirk popping up with a few goals and stuff like that. But I don't know, it just seems a little bit too dangerous. I think Brecon can pick up a win at any time. And it'll be really interesting to see kind of how that pans out, really.
And they're a team... Oh, sorry.
It's crazy to think they signed Botty B back up from Swansea. Is that what he came down?
Yeah, they got an extension at his deal, yeah.
So you kind of thought when they signed him, this could be the goals that they're searching for to really get themselves away, and it's as Derek's rightly said, it's not happening.
No, it's not happening. It'll be quite fascinating to see how that battle at the bottom, impacts not only the teams involved in that, but the teams at the top of the Lowland League and their mentality towards facing them as well.
You still got Brora there as well, and those champions of Brora years.
Absolutely.
And local work's not far behind them as well. As well.
I know. So it's just kind of fascinating battles kind of across the leagues as well. Let's briefly touch on League 1. What kind of games stood out for you guys over the weekend there in League 1?
I've got one that you would think I would pick. Falkirk 6 for now.
We've got the same. I'm just doing tough
fuck
beating
you
you guys.
That's it, aye.
That's
us equal, man.
This week, welcome to Talking New Love Island.
There'll be a recoupling tonight.
Apparently so.
The reason I picked this game is Falkirk went in at the half, 1-0 up through an own goal. And I feel like this is the kind of game that under Ray McKinnon, they might have went on to kind of slip up. Maybe they would have had a draw, or they wouldn't have went on to fully take the scalp. But they went on 6-0, and I think that is a barometer of how far that they've came underneath Miller and McCracken. No strikers scoring during the game as well for them. Which is something we've spoke about before. They kind of have a lack of firepower up front. Maybe need a bit more creativity, but they're getting goals from all over the park now. Dixon was scoring, Hall was scoring, Aidan Conley was scoring, and I just think that this is a win that you can really kick on from. And like I say, Ray McKinnon maybe wouldn't have won this game for them.
Still unbeaten under the new management duo at Falkirk as well. I'm sure we'll touch on it, but in my opinion, it's been such an intriguing battle at the top, League One all season. I now think it's a 2-horse race. Yeah. I think it's now down to Wraith and Falkirk who's going to win the league. Yeah. I think that the guys have done a great job since they've come in. I think they seem to be building that kind of real community feeling about Falkirk again. I know it's kind of perhaps might be called short-term thinking, but getting the relationships with the Falkirk Business Club. I know there's been a few things happening there with the business club helping the guys go and stay overnight at certain venues and stuff like that before games. The fans seem really behind the guys. They just seem to be kind of really down to earth about their approach. And last night as well, at the time of recording, big victory, beating Arbroath in the Scottish Cup to progress. And that was Declan McManus, for example, back in the score sheet as well.
Yeah, I think
another scorer called as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Just take a day off.
McManus says that.
Right, we get it. You're very good.
I believe it was McManus' 19th or 16th goal of the season.
That's right, yeah.
He's a guy I really like. At Falkirk, as I said before, he wanted to play through the middle, and McKinnon had him playing out wide, and under Miller and McCracken, he's cracked on. Yeah. Scoring goals, getting man of the match performances was huge for Falkirk last night, and a great result. I feel a bit bad for Arbroath because they're obviously a part-time team and playing at the weekend and having a big game down at Falkirk or full time, and obviously my love for Dick Campbell as well makes
you must have that photo, the illustration that Adam put together, the kind of Godfather image of Dick Campbell. Is that definite? Can we confirm on the podcast that that's now your phone screensaver?
That's my phone screensaver, as you can see here.
Is it actually?
Yep.
Right, brilliant. Can we show it to the camera just there, just to let everybody know that ignore the apps. There might be some weird stuff there.
That's it.
But Johnny's just telling us to get as closer as evidence. That's Alistair's phone screen there. Yep, there we go. Yep, you can see it right there. Johnny's helping us out there. Yeah. And that's just the way it is.
So basically,
Adam
can retire now in the back of that picture as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's never going to top that.
No, not for Ali on an emotional level
this
anyway.
This is me now frantically checking what apps were on the screen. Nothing.
It's fine. Johnny
absolutely nothing there to worry about.
Johnny will blur the screen out. It's fine.
Johnny can always edit it out.
The joy of video edit.
There'll be a lot of it. Right, Ross.
Yeah, I'm going to do something that I've tried not to do in the podcast since Alistair outed us as Clyde fans. Just talk about Clyde.
Outed myself, you outed us all. Just there.
Okay, would I take I would have taken somebody like 5 seconds to find that out. But anyway, continue, Ross.
We'll have this fight afterwards. This was a game I kind of had a feeling about. I said this to you kind of off the mic last week, was I've not been convinced by East Fife, for a large part of the season now.
Since BSC Glasgow rattled them.
Yeah,
genuinely, they went clean off the rails.
Yeah, they have.
Absolutely.
They have, mentally, physically, the whole lot.
They lost Chris Duggan as well, I believe, who's gone off to Australia, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think they've lost another player as well off the top of my head. They looked a bit toothless against Clyde, obviously. They took the lead, but Clyde for large parts of the games looked a lot sharper than I've seen them in recent weeks anyway. Obviously I'm not at Broadwood every week to see the games, but for what I have seen, they've looked a lot sharper than they have. David Goodwillie still League One top scorer, 17 goals, and it was great to see John Rankin back in the pitch as well.
The Clyde squad seems to be coming together again.
Yeah.
I think when they went through a sticky patch towards the tail end of last year, we covered it in the podcast quite a bit. They seem to be the squads kind of coming together. Brought in Greg Wild, as we've touched on. John Rankin coming back, Chris McStay coming back for injury. The kind of squad finally kind of probably what Danny Lennon and Alan Moore have been crying out for is that kind of selection headache. I think they said it in their pre-match interview on the Friday before the East Fife game. And obviously Tom Lang, his first senior goal, and what a big goal it could be for Clyde's season and East Fife's season potentially as well.
Yeah. The thing for me is, I start to wonder if your boy Darren Young's star is starting to wane a wee bit.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, obviously, as I say, it's great to see John Rankin back in the pitch, putting a great ball for Tom Lang's winner as well. So, I thought it was quite an impressive Clyde win, to be honest, and it's done us a lot of favours getting away from that relegation zone.
Yeah, and Clyde are now got a game in hand against the Barton, and if Clyde win that, they will be 5 points off the promotion playoffs as well.
It is fascinating, because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Clyde potentially relegation trouble, and that might still be in the cards, but then now we're talking about promotion playoffs.
It's such a tight league, isn't it?
Well, Derek, that's what I was going to get your thoughts on League One. Was there was we've covered it before, but a BBC piece kind of calling it one of the most exciting leagues, I think,
in
potentially
Europe?
in Europe. You know,
that was a quote.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't want to out myself there, but you know, kind of from a kind of outside perspective, kind of what's your thoughts on kind of keeping an eye on that league?
Again, it's something that initially I wasn't really keeping too close an eye on it, but obviously when East Fife came out in the draw, I was kind of very keen eye. It used to be the Championship that was recognised as the kind of ding dong league that anyone could win a game. I think it's League One now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's built into the Championship now. We'll obviously get there, but a bit of discrepancy between top and bottom. League One just seems to be you can't predict it.
No,
you know?
not at all.
And when we played East Fife, obviously they looked a decent side. They're above us in the pyramid in merit. They're really at the time they were second, if I remember rightly, in the league. But we had a go at them, and I think the logic was, well, why not? Yeah. And League One seems that way. It's like any week, any given week, just have a go and see if you end up in the right side of things. There doesn't seem to be a really defensive team that does it week in, week out. You've got to do it, otherwise you're stuffed.
Yeah,
you know. So
exactly, and it's like you say. Like, I mean, purely talking from what I've seen Clyde beat Stranraer 6-1, lose 3-0 away to Stranraer. We've beaten Falkirk twice, but we can't seem to beat Forfar. And it's just like you say, you can't predict the league, and everyone seems to be able to take points off each other.
Well, that's
and
the thing.
Although Clyde could potentially go 5 points off the playoffs if they win their game in hand, if they don't, 5 points off the bottom. You know what I mean? It's just it's such a tight league.
I know, it's brilliant to see, and I'm sure we'll come on to kind of the ramifications of a few games this coming weekend as well. I just want to quickly cover the Championship as well, just in the weekend past. The result that kind of stood out for me, which, again, Ross, maybe you spoke about one of your results earlier in the podcast, but Dundee United won, Morton won at Tannadice.
Again?
Oh, good. That saves some time. and Shankland popping up once again in the last minute to equalise. My Morton supporting pals are raging, but buzzing at the same time. They get walked away with a point, which could be a big point for Morton. We touched on it last week. The tide seems to be turning there, both on and off the park. Some of the kind of media work they've been doing the last couple of weeks at Morton have been a bit more transparent with the chief exec and Hopkin and things like that, talking about their vision for the club. Really trying to bring back that kind of togetherness, which maybe perhaps wasn't there, certainly in the last couple of months, maybe over in the last kind of 6 months even. And they're starting to pick up the points, which might actually start to slowly propel them kind of away from the danger zone. For Dundee United, maybe a bit of an off day, seemed a bit toothless, but Shankland popping up doing what he does best, popping up with a cracker as well in the cup game against Hibs as well. But no, I think they'll be absolutely fine, going strong. I don't think they'll be too disheartened by the Hibs result as well.
No.
Poor defending at set pieces, but I still think that they'll rally and they'll be fine. But I think that, Morton will be chuffed to walk away with Tannadice with a point.
Yeah, just touching on the game last night, I thought Dundee United, I've said previously, I think this time next year they could be top 6 in the Premier League. I think over the 2 games they gave a very good account of themselves. Robbie Nielsen know the areas that they need to kind of strengthen, and next season you'll be looking at Hibs to be kind of a top 6 team anyway. So over those 2 games I thought they gave a great account of themselves, and you're right, I don't think they will take the Morton game too badly either, actually, to be honest, because that's why they've built this cushion.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would have had one eye in the game against Hibs.
Which you can understand. We spoke about it last week. They would have no fear going to Easter Road, and they didn't at the end of the day. They lost out, but they went for it.
They lost playing their game.
I know, exactly.
I think the thing is as well, for the reaction from Morton fans on Twitter seems to be they were actually really unlucky not to take the 3 points. Lauren Shankland does what Lauren Shankland does.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the things.
Yeah.
I have Queen of the South and Alloa. Finished Queen of the South 2, Alloa 3. I thought this game was really interesting. for a couple of reasons. I think both teams went into it with the exact same mentality of we can take the full 3 points here, and we both kind of need the 3 points here. What I thought was interesting was Alloa go are 2-0 up after 14 minutes of the first half. The game finishes 2-0 and then we kick off again, and within 14 minutes of the second half, Queen of the South have clawed it back.
Yeah, I know.
And then it's just like two heavyweight boxers slugging it out for that goal, you know. And that's Game Thompson in the 81st minute has put the winner in for Alloa, and that's taken them off the bottom of the league, I believe, for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
And Partick are now deciding there, and they're 2 points off Partick. I think it's a great result for Alloa in a game they had to win when you're in that relegation zone. And the same with BSC as well, as you know, in the Lowland League. If you want to push on in the position you're in, beat the teams around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Alloa's done, so I think that was a great result for them.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody who perhaps is maybe starting not to go under the radar as much as Kevin O'Hara, and how important he is for Alloa. And starting to bang in the goals. We talk about Nisbet, Shankland, Goodwill, all these types of players, and O'Hara just keeps doing it for Alloa, and those goals could be potentially what keeps Alloa in the Championship for another season.
I could be making this up. Is O'Hara, not the third highest scorer in the Championship behind Nisbet and Shankland?
I think he is.
I think he might be. Yeah, I think he might be. But on the on the topic of the Championship and Alloa, obviously Derek, BSC, some people might not know, but they currently ground sharing with Alloa as well. How's that kind of been for you guys, kind of as an arrangement, and is that kind of, whenever you see Alloa, you kind of root for them slightly as well in the Championship?
It's been great for us. They've been brand new, because at the end of the day we needed somewhere, we were desperate. They've stepped up and we've gone really well with them. So we do have a really good relationship with them, and also want to see them do well. So I can't say enough about them, and obviously the Pie Hut as well. A fantastic facility.
Are they still serving the best stovies in the league?
They are, and the pie in the roll as well.
Fantastic.
Smashing.
So how did the ground share come about? Because obviously BSC are based in Broomhill.
Yes.
So Alloa is obviously almost
not
a
in Broomhill.
A billion, exactly.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
That's it. And is there any?
Sorry, be a pest, can I? The toilet.
Yes.
Of course,
I know it's been forced break at this point, but
of course,
let's take a little break then.
And on that point,
I'll finish the question when you come back. This is what keeps them listening.
It is indeed. And
just through the door there on the left.
And on that cliffhanger, we'll be back shortly. And we're back. Now, before we left you there for the break, we left you on a cliffhanger. I'm sure you're all waiting, talking to everybody at work, your families, about this moment. Ali, finish your question.
So is there plans to have a stadium put in place at Broomhill, or are you looking at a ground share more close to home down the line?
The long-term plan is a stadium of our own, but it's been a struggle. We've been going down all avenues ever since we've been in Alloa, even ever since we shared with Maryhill.
Yeah.
Because originally we were at Maryhill and just ruined the pitch because the two is just the pitch couldn't cope with it, hence why we've ended up in Alloa. So the cup run will majorly help that though. We needed something to get over a hump with it, because you can only go to Glasgow Life and these kind of organisations so much before they just go, we'll get nothing for you.
Yeah.
So I think long term we want to get back to Broomhill, Scotstoun, that kind of area.
Yeah.
Obviously Warriors are still at Scotstoun now. We did play there originally as well. That was a potential place we could get back to, but ground share wise, I think we'll be fine with Alloa. I don't see us doing another ground share anytime kind of in the near future anyway. People have mentioned Queen's Park because they've got Leicester-Hampton coming. But again, I just think we're in a situation just now is good for us with Alloa. Would we be willing to give that up to potentially go into something that might not work out? I'm not sure. But we'll see how it goes.
No, it'll be a really exciting time for the club. I think we're all excited to kind of find out, especially after this season over the summer and stuff like that, kind of what's going to happen as well. And we've got another brilliant set of fixtures coming up this weekend. And like we've done previously, we're going to start with the Lowland League, which is smashing. Now, guys, what games stick out for you in the Lowland League this weekend?
I've got the University of Edinburgh versus the Spartans.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. I've got another university as my team.
This is a kind of interesting game for me because Spartans are on a 4-game winning streak until they played BSC on the 20th of December, and they've kind of slugged on. They lost 1-0 to Civil Service Strollers, 2 points behind them with a game in hand, and then another goalless draw with University of Stirling on the 18th of January, and then fighting to a 3-2 win against the same opponents a week later. As we've talked about, BSC have got a good couple of games in hand the same way Bonnyrigg do. Spartans really need a win for me to try and stay ahead of Civil Service Strollers, who seem to be really quickly catching up with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think so. I think Spartans, if you're looking at it from a kind of higher level perspective, the Spartans are probably, you would maybe argue that people who don't perhaps, keep tabs in the Lowland League, they know who Spartans are.
Yeah. Aye. Mm-hmm. Well, they used to always apply every single time there was a gap. Yeah. And they always thought they'd get in until they were told no.
Yeah. Exactly.
They got that kind of reputation. But it's an interesting one because behind the race to the title, the battle is Spartan Civil.
Yeah.
Civil have never really got the better of them, and there's a real chance of it this year. So, Spartans will be very keen to make sure that doesn't happen.
Aye. I mean, even digging into this, just to get a kind of idea for form, Spartans don't seem that consistent.
No, they haven't been.
I think it could be a really interesting kind of run, as we say, just kind of behind that top of the league. That wee mix in behind them could be really interesting.
Yeah, it just seems like another battle in that league, which is really interesting. It's probably quite similar to the battle in which we often talk about in League 2 between Annan and Elgin for that 4th spot. Like, it always seems to be that kind of back and forth between them as well. We're talking about university teams. For me, my game of the weekend in the Lowland League is University of Stirling at home to Bonnyrigg Rose.
I've got the same.
Excellent. Good. Thanks. Welcome back to Talking Love Island. So I think that obviously Bonnyrigg are, really wanting to keep on the kind of, breathing down the neck at Kilty Hearts at the top of the league. But as we touched on previously in the podcast, University of Stirling they just seem to go in this wee run, then they just grab a result. There's always a result that goes, all right, okay, wasn't expecting that. So I think it'll be a really good game. I think especially because Bonnyrigg having to go there as well to Stirling. I think it'll be a really intriguing tie.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree, and also noted Bonnyrigg were playing last night as well, in a cup game. They won 3-0.
Yep.
Hard playing during the week and then having to go away again in the lower leagues, and of course Bonnyrigg are mentally always looking ahead, and consider with Stirling Uni are near the bottom of the league, so maybe this is one they might take their eye off before a much harder run in of games. And I think, as you say, Dylan, Stirling Uni seem to be able to just grab a result. I think this will be a really interesting game as well.
Bonnyrig's going to have this issue now because of the amount of games in hand they've got, and they're still involved cup-wise, that they're going to get to the point it's 2-3 games a week in the running. And that's going to affect them in terms of pushing for the title, which is why a lot of people still think Kelty are favourites. But from what I've seen them, I think Bonnyrig's the best side I've seen in the league this year. Fantastic team, but University of Stirling aren't far behind. And Chris Geddes has been there for a few years now. He used to be the striker, he's now the manager. He's back playing again. He always says he's retiring and he's back scoring again. But I wouldn't put it past Stirling to go and get something there, because for anyone that's not aware of the league, University of Stirling plays some of the best football you're going to see in it. And some really good passing football. And we've seen Blair Lyons this week go to Thistle, get loaned back to Montrose. He's came out of there. There's other boys like Angus Mailer's probably next in line. They produce great footballers, and it's because of the style they play and the ethos they've got. So don't count them out of getting the result there.
Stirling Uni obviously get a great sports facility as well, and so I'm not surprised to hear they're producing some great talent as well. Derek, you get any games you're looking forward to this weekend?
I'd be a traitor if I never said our game.
So go for it, talk about it.
So we've got Berwick this weekend, which is ideal, I think, for us in building up to the Cup next week, because it's a tester, it's a game that people will think we should win. The form will tell you we should win, but it's not an easy game. So it's exactly what we need as a primer. And we can't afford to take our eye off the ball with it. And I do fancy us to win it, but it'll be interesting to see if Swifties trying any new formations or anything. We played 4-4 in the Cup last year, and the game before that, he tried a new formation and a new setup and some different things here and there. So it'll be intriguing to see if we just play our normal way and just go gung-ho and try to win it.
Yeah.
Thinking we're still in the chase for the title. Or if we start experimenting a wee bit and maybe playing a wee bit more defensive and seeing how it plays out.
Yeah.
On you go, Alice.
Sorry, would you expect, how would you feel knowing that you could maybe push on and maybe do something in the league? How would you feel if you did go a bit defensive and drop points? Or have you given up on the league and now you're like Scottish Cup all the way? Keep the upsets coming.
In the aftermath of the Bonnyrigg game, I'd given up on it. Because we had a chance, we came right back from nowhere, 2-2. We probably should have won it in the end, and they scored in injury time, and that was massive for them, that result. Because we'd beat them away at Bonnyrigg. But I've kind of warmed up more to the fact that we're not out yet. Just purely because the games we've got left. We're going to have to win every game when it comes down to it. But I'd be disappointed if we didn't get 3 points, put it that way, the weekend. Not only for the league, but also in terms of preparation for the biggest game we'll ever have as a club, because you want to go into that and some good momentum and hopefully 2 or 3 goals in the back pocket, you know.
Exactly, yeah. It keeps pressure on the people above you in the league, and then obviously takes the players and the management and the fans going into that next game going, look, anything can happen. That's exactly it. Now, we're looking forward to seeing what happens over the weekend. In League 2 as well, for me, it's another chapter in the revolution. Queen's Park are at home to Elgin. The new signings galore, no doubt, apparently, according to some of our friends across social media, some of the Queen's Park guys that follow us, there's another maybe potentially 2 signings expected before the weekend. As we touched on before, with some of the guys that brought in this week, I'm very intrigued to see who they bring in this week.
Yeah.
Just coming towards before the weekend there. Elgin having a really good result last week away to Stirling. I think Queen's Park will really fancy it. I think the momentum around the place is great. Yeah, again, we touched on the cup result. I don't think now that they've brought in some new signings, there's more momentum back at the club. I don't think that will bother them. Ali, you touched on the result last week. You know, maybe on the face of it, Queen's Park are disappointed not to get 3 points despite coming from 2 goals down. I think they'll be looking at this going another home game. Perfect chance to get 3 points, and also a perfect chance to gain 3 points in Elgin, who are sitting in that 4th spot.
Yeah.
As well.
Elgin, I say, well, they're always going to look to finish 4th.
Yep.
Usually they don't travel well, but with the form Shane Sutherland's in, who knows, could maybe grab some points at the weekend. I'll be more ready to kind of judge this game when I know when Queen's Park's business is done.
Yeah.
So Friday, if they've signed Tidser, Harkins and Kenny Miller.
So wait for your Twitter verdict, because that's what people are saying.
No, I think I'm gonna go with a draw for this one.
Right, okay, interesting. Ross?
I have Annan Athletic versus Stenhousemuir. Annan have now lost their last 4 out of 5 games since Alistair condemned Fortress Calabank.
That's true. They'll never let you back.
No,
which is upsetting.
And
it's actually my favourite away day. It's so good. I love Annan.
Tremendous. In that run, they've scored just 7 goals and conceded 14. You know, Steny are hardly in any kind of inspiring form either. They've got 1-1 draw and 3 losses in the last 5. Scored 7 and conceded 10. However, with Albion playing Cove at Clifton Hill, I wouldn't be surprised to see Steny go, do you know what? We need a result here.
Yeah.
A big result. And Annan are not in good form at all. I could see Steny potentially sneaking a winner here.
And Hopkirk seems to be popping up with the goals.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And just as Derek's rightly said, you know, Steny have been in the games that they've lost recently.
Absolutely
in those games. So, you know, it's there for the taking.
It is.
A few of them they should have won. It seems to let slip up, so it might not happen again this weekend. It's a flip side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they'll be desperate to get a win. They'll be desperate to start even just building up that kind of wee bit of breathing space between the bottom of the table as well, which is interesting.
I have got Edinburgh City versus Stirling.
Surprised.
That was the most monotone way of saying a game ever.
I'm sorry. It's Edinburgh City versus Stirling.
Brilliant. I'm absolutely buzzing for it now, to be honest.
The reason I've went here is because Edinburgh are, again, another team they're looking forward. They'll be, they're trying to keep in touch with Cove. But as we've touched upon before, Stirling are conceding little goals. They've conceded the least goals in the league. They've been solid at the start of the season where we're looking for their strikers to kind of start scoring goals, and then right on cue, Darryl Duffy's been scoring hat-tricks for fun, like he's rolling back the years. He's like a Rolls Royce at the moment. He's been great. And I can see Edinburgh having trouble maybe breaking down Stirling. I think they'll take a draw here. I know Shepherd for Edinburgh City is in absolute fine form at the moment. He's really came back into it. I think he'll be a big player for them. But I think this has got a draw written all over it, and I think Stirling are going to really push on to try and finish fourth, if not third, this year from where they are at the moment. Because, like I say, they've got a great foundation to their team, and they just need some goals and creativity, and I think they'll finish thereabouts.
Do you catch up to Cowdenbeath?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really interesting.
Maybe not Cowdenbeath. Maybe I've got too excited there. I ain't fourth. Why not fourth?
Yeah, why not fourth? Why not fourth? Disrupt that. That Anne Elgin battle that happens eternally. But I do think that we should jump on, just while we're kind of on this conversation of kind of playoff battles and stuff like that. I do think we should jump on to League One, because a fixture that really sticks out for me this weekend is East Fife v Dumbarton. We've spoken about East Fife enough in the entirety of that we've been doing this podcast. Going to keep doing it.
And
Darren,
I'm sure
Darren,
you've got a lot of good stories about East Fife to tell, Derek.
I'm quite happy to speak about East Fife now.
That's also for an eternity. You'll be talking about that. East Fife at home at Dumbarton. Dumbarton today, obviously, day of recording, signing Jai Katongo, who apparently was training with Clyde and things like that. We have a few Clyde fans thought to bring him on. Joined his brother at Dumbarton. Really good signing, I think, certainly on paper anyway. But East Fife at home, East Fife really need to start building momentum up. Because we're talking about a two-horse race at the top of League One, but that playoff battle in League One now is looking very intriguing with everybody kind of so tight. And it's already been talking about Clyde, Peterhead, who are on points in 7th and 8th, talking about potentially up to the promotion playoffs as well. So I think East Fife kind of need a win, especially after the result at Broadwood. And also just to think, look, we need to start, we're not going to get the league, so let's try and start kind of cementing ourselves in the playoffs. As boring as it may seem for the running, I think that their fans would take cementing themselves in the playoffs and getting ready for that playoff battle. Instead of having that kind of last day drama, perhaps they might end up losing out.
You don't want to limp into the playoffs either. You want to go in with good momentum, because we've seen plenty of teams just hold on to fourth and just disappear. There are teams that do a brilliant run in, grab fourth, suddenly they've got a great chance of going up. So especially East Fife, that they've not been in great form in the past. Well, when did we play them?
Like I say, mentally and physically rattled.
I think Katongo's a great signing for Dumbarton, and I think one of my favourite players in the lower league, Joe McKee, has had a great season assists-wise, and I think this is a fantastic outball for him. And I think that Katongo is going to really kind of push on Dumbarton and give them an option outside Isaac Lane and crossing as well. So I think great bit of business by Jim Duffy, and if I'm Joe McKee, I'm very happy for having another outball as well.
That's good. Thanks, Joe. Ross, you get that.
I'm going to very neatly just tie into what you've both said and talk about both a playoff battle and Jai Katongo and talk about Clyde again.
Great.
I am somewhat scunnered that Clyde have not signed Jai Katongo, because we are screaming for a left back. Is Jai Katongo not a left back? You've both gave me a dirty look.
No, he's a left winger.
Oh, well, I don't know what I'm talking about then.
No, but he could. Well,
He could play left back.
He could play left wing back.
Left wing.
If Arsenal can play left winger at left back, Clyde can play left winger at left back.
Yeah, exactly. Because even look at the way Clyde have played previously, using Greg Wild and using Ali Love. Both wingers, but they've also both played right and left wing back. So do you know what, Ross? Don't worry about it, mate.
Now that you've vindicated my point, I'm going to carry
Who's
on.
in the right? I don't know. Left or right?
Shut up.
Derek, you have a football manager. Where have you put him this season?
Cam.
Drake was there, I knew it.
Defensive mid.
Right, you were talking about.
Yes,
you were talking about Clyde.
Yes, I was talking about the relegation playoff battle at Forfar versus Clyde. We talked about Forfar a couple of weeks ago, seeming to be on a wee bit of a resurgence, and it seems to have kind of tailed off again. They are only 1-1, a draw, and 3 losses in the last 5, scored 7, conceded 13. Clyde, by comparison, are 2 wins, a draw and 2 losses, scored 8, conceded 11. But I think the key factor in this is David Goodwillie. Clyde can get themselves a nice 3-point cushion between them and Peterhead, who are also on 25 points. And as you were talking about there, Ali, also a game in hands against Dumbarton in 6th, who, if we win this game, I believe we got a point behind them. Am I right in saying that?
So yeah.
It would make that game against Dumbarton at the Rock very, very interesting. And one of the things that made me pick this game as well was the fact that I expected Fife and Dumbarton to play out a really horrendous 0-0 draw, to be brutally honest, because
it's a very niche kind of guess. Like, so
that was one of my reasonings for picking this game, was because I think that East Fife Dumbarton game will be terrible.
Yeah, I can't wait for a 4-each thriller.
I know, now that I've said that, I was so uninspired by East Fife last week.
I know. I think, and to be honest, I think big game for Forfar. Bringing on obviously Bobby Barr as well.
Yeah.
Well, sure, Malcolm's known for getting the best at crosses and set pieces, so that's a very interesting pickup.
Yeah, exactly. Clyde will have to be at their best to make sure that doesn't kind of come back to bite them.
And now they'll miss Jai Katongo playing left back.
That's true. Up and down that wing. And Clyde will be looking to bring some momentum into the cup game next weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But another exciting week in Europe's top league.
Derek, do you have any games from League One?
I was going to pick the Forfar game purely because Stuart's a guy I know quite well from when he was at East Kilbride, and I just think that Bobby Barr pickup was classic. Because he's a guy that loves wing play and getting cross balls in the box and just putting a keeper under pressure with whipped balls in. That was a very, very classic pickup, and I'd expect him to go back to the league as well, because he obviously has a great knowledge of the league. He's now raided it twice, expect more for that. Yeah, and
I've seen with Falkirk this season, it is a group of big boys they've got, and they're a big physical team. So maybe they are, like you say, if he's looking to exploit wing play and crosses, could be a very difficult game for Clyde, who have conceded a few dodgy goals from crosses this one at the weekend as well, just switching off in important positions.
Yeah, it's a tough away game. I think it'll be quite intriguing as well to see kind of who comes out on top there.
Played twice this season, 2 draws.
So
not much between them.
I know. So the championship, guys, to kind of round off, kind of previewing the weekend. What games kind of stick out for you in the championship this weekend?
It feels as if I say this every week, but James McPake's last game is Dundee manager at Capello.
That's also mine. The recoupling.
Excellent, full house. Come on.
The recoupling's been announced. Ali's been dumped. Look out for a new regular guest next week.
How do you feel about the gig, Derek?
What's the pay?
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about that off mic to Johnny. Ross, I've also got Morton versus Dundee.
Same.
So Ross, you open up with it.
As we've kind of talked about, Morton seemingly on a wee bit of resurgence. As we talked about earlier with the last weekend preview, 3 wins, a draw and a loss in the last 5. They are scoring goals now, which is something they weren't doing previously, and they've started conceding a lot less. They've only conceded 6 in the last 5 games. Something that really actually interested me was a Morton win could see them jump as high as joint 4th with Dundee. If other results go their way, now I believe that counts on both Dunfermline and Arbroath losing as well. Which I don't know will happen or won't happen. I'm never going to say anything about Arbroath, but never mind.
Can't next time.
I've got it written as my last sentence here. The question still remains as to how James McPake's still in that job.
Probably stubbornness from the board. Probably knowing that
don't
they've
want to pay him off, let's be honest.
And maybe knowing that they've made a mistake. This was my game of the weekend, and if he gets beat here, surely he's away. I feel sorry. I'm starting to feel sorry for the Dundee fans now, because it just seems to be just a complete lack of direction and a kind of lack of. I feel as if his kind of interviews pre and post match are just gives me the fear.
He's crying out for help.
Yeah.
And the man that's meant to help him, Gordon Strachan, doesn't seem to be interested at all.
No, he's too busy in the BT studio. So
you get to a point with managers sometimes, I feel like, because you've seen it down south with Eddie Howe recently, where they're almost admitting that they don't know what to do. They've run out of ideas, and McPake was there weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's almost just get rid of him and let him move on at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
Because there was that picture, I can't remember who they were playing, but he just looked utterly defeated
Yeah.
in the
We were
sidelines,
talking
just
about it.
completely and utterly out of
Aye.
Was it
ideas.
Dens Park? I can't remember.
I can't remember who it was against, but he just looked.
Yeah.
Morton playing in South Ringsable.
It seems like they get rid of Johnston and they wanted Wigton back, but they couldn't maybe afford the wages. So I don't know if maybe Johnson was moved to do that. But obviously Wigton went to Arbroath. Anyway, let's interrogate Derek for 15 minutes about things we wanted to ask him.
And on that point, Derek, so obviously we've kind of mildly interrogated you already on the podcast, but there's a few things that we've not touched on. You've spoke about obviously BSC, everything around that. Obviously touched on kind of the Lowland League podcast as well. But Ali, I'm going to give you first dibs on talking about Derek and his streaming activities and Football Manager and whatnot.
One of the things I wanted to know about your work with Football Manager, etc., is this time of year there's a lot of comings and goings and a lot of movement. How do you guys keep on top of that? And also, how do you get like your files out so quick? Is it a case of you've got a separate save that's going to go live at the end of, or a separate database that's going to go live at the end of the window? You're always updating it, or is it just all hands on deck, windows shut, let's get this done?
Basically, to kind of break it down, for the Scottish Leagues there's one person per team in SPFL who's their researcher, designated researcher, and come January, most of them, if they're prepared, they'll have notes. Alright, this guy's in, this guy's out, here's the changes that are coming, this is a new contract, XYZ. But because it's only your own club, it's generally quite easy to update it.
Yeah.
I tend to rest my laurels of it because I just do the Lowland League, and because it's not an active league in the game, I don't tend to do January updates.
Yeah.
But all these guys will say it's like a guy Matt I know does Stirling Albion, so he'll be responsible for updating the squads, any wage changes, any kind of contract changes. But because it's one person per club, it's pretty manageable.
Yeah.
And then the update gets rolled out at the end of all the transfer windows in February.
Yeah.
So it works pretty seamlessly.
So, see, if you're researching for a team, do you get access to things like contracts, or are player wages speculatory?
It depends on the club.
Right, okay.
Some people that do the research will be actually part of the club,
Right.
so they'll know this stuff. For example, with my Lowland League stuff, I've got a good idea of some, but others are purely speculative, or
Right, okay.
the game wouldn't work, no Kelty, for the actual wages. So
Yeah.
You have to update it every 24 hours. It's for them.
honestly, Kelty this summer was an absolute nightmare keeping up to date with all the boys they brought in. Andy Stirlingshire, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of what information's out there, time, what contacts you've got as well.
Okay.
And luckily, most of the clubs that I work with are bang on with it. So.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to ask you was, how do you stop researchers from going rogue? Like, if I were to, I'm a MacLeod man, how it stops me just giving Ray Grant like 15 for everything and be like, no, trust me, he's a great player. You know what I mean?
It's a shame to know that Skynet are taking over Football Manager. But obviously we've got Derek here to make sure that doesn't happen, so that's good. Derek, how can you stop people from going rogue?
You know what I mean? Like, just make up a youngster, put them into the game,
Yeah.
say they've got a high ceiling or whatever.
You're kind of relying on people's better nature.
Right,
Although
okay.
I will give a wee shout out at the moment to Stuart, who is the head researcher, who happens to be a Dundee United fan. So when you see Dundee United Wonder Kids, I'm not saying anything, but he checks his own work.
Wonder how Scott Banks got that move to Crystal Palace as well.
Well, that's what we were talking about, was like, that's how Mark Kerr became so big in Champman 102.
So like he'll check through the work, and there's always somebody that does that step. So when I did my work over the summer, somebody challenged me on, do you think you've overrated BSC a wee bit? I had BSC sitting as the third best squad.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I've been vindicated with that.
Yeah,
as the season's gone on.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
the questions are always asked. It's like, well, do you think there's a bit of favouritism going there? Or if there's a player who's played at another club, they'll usually bounce it off that person that they've came
Right,
from.
okay.
And I had to do that with guys like Nathan Austin, obviously stepping down for Inverness. It's kind of thing, right, I can't keep him at the same level because he'll just obliterate the league.
Yeah.
I need to turn him down a bit and just...
Yeah, and obviously if he's going part-time as well, you would expect a drop-off in things.
Exactly.
Like fitness and sharpness and pace, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. That's me. That's my football manager stuff done.
Thanks very much for this week's appearance, Ali. Ross.
I've got just one football manager question since Alistair brought it up, and it's more a daft wee guy question about football manager is, outside also the work you do on the kind of Lowland Leagues and the lower league teams, do you have a go-to team if you're just kind of leisurely playing football manager?
I like playing as Camelon in East of Scotland because it's a club I've got a wee soft spot for as well. Every time I've been there, they've been absolutely brand new. Going back a good couple of years now, before I got properly involved with BSC actually. They're a great wee club and they're doing everything the right way. They're building through the youth, they're building the community, and they're a model for any junior club that, well, you look at the juniors that potentially might be down at the lower ebbs of the juniors just now. Camelon are a club that aren't kind of made a big means, they've not got a big money backer, but they're showing this year especially, they've had a great season. Any club, when they put their mind to it, put the right blocks in place, there's no stopping you having a great season and just growing generally, you know.
Absolutely. You know, we kind of talked off night, you know, before we came in to do the show tonight about, for me, I find Twitch fascinating. You know, obviously you're a streamer yourself. Was there a certain person or something that happened on Twitch that made you think this is the platform for me?
I kind of fell into it by accident, in all honesty, because I started, the whole reason I started doing stuff with BSC was because they asked me to do a blog, a football manager blog on the website, and that went quite well. And it got to the stage where I thought, well, I enjoy the writing side, but I'm going to give this a go, because I watch Twitch quite a bit anyway. And I've seen a couple of people, I'm not going to name names because this will sound horrible, and I thought I could do that, but I could bring my own spin to it. And at that point there wasn't really somebody that was Scottish who did it, so there was a niche there as well, whereas now we're flooding the place. So I just gave it a go and I loved it, because I'm not a guy that sits and listens to myself. I can't edit the own podcasts I do. I'm not a guy that's great at video editing, because again I'm far too self-critical. Just doing stuff and being live and chatting is brilliant. Because even if you make a mistake, you laugh it off. That's what I do in general life anyway. So it's, if anyone's ever thought about doing it, I'd just say give it a go, because there's nothing to lose. The worst that can happen, nobody watches, but then nobody sees you mess up. So,
that's true. So Derek, just kind of whether it's, you know, all of it, or whether it's your BSC work or the catch up podcast, or whether it's, you know, your streaming work or football manager, kind of what's kind of your hopes for kind of all your kind of work kind of this year? You know, is there any kind of particular goals you've got that you want to achieve this year with your work, or is it just kind of going and kind of try to build it all up, and kind of what's the kind of your thought process there?
Well, doing more things like this, to be honest, because I've got to a point where I've done things quite, well, insular, in a way that I've had plenty of connections with people at the football, so going to games, meeting people that way and so on. But I'm trying to get out and do different things, and I'm doing a lot of kind of, well, there's TwitchCon, which is a massive conference for folk that do live streaming. It's an excuse to go to Amsterdam for the weekend. There's Football KitCon I'm doing, which is, again, something different. I'm just trying to get as much like new experiences out of it as possible, and hopefully continue to grow and see what happens. Just obviously with the club that I'm with, that's a forward-thinking, really ambitious club. It's a great fit, because they support me to the hilt. They've made me an ambassador of the club, because I started off being, they called me an esports partner initially, which is basically going, we'll give you a chance and see if you're a nugget. And they upgraded it because they thought, we can trust him, he's alright. That's where I saw it anyway. But it's been brand new, because it's opened me up to so many different things rather than just playing a computer game online. You know? So.
No, it's brilliant, and it's great, and I think that was one of the reasons why we wanted to get you on as well, because like we touched on before, we want to talk about the Lowland League, we want to talk about just different things and different mediums and different channels that people are using to talk about lower leagues in Scotland as well, and you know, the kind of, you know, I think we've spoke about it before, and how I do feel that the Scottish Premiership can learn from kind of innovation and kind of different thinking from the lower leagues.
Absolutely.
As well, and a lot of the exciting work that's happening there. So from that point of view, you know, keep up the good work, and obviously you're more than welcome here anytime at all as well. And just want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, we've been really looking forward to it, and like I say, hopefully if you fancy it, you're more than welcome to come back on.
I'll come back on for the Scottish Cup final.
Absolutely, that's going to be a bumper in the pub. BSC versus Clyde. I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait for European football.
Absolutely, we're both excited. Derek, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. Good luck for the rest of the season, and like I say, I'm sure we'll speak to you before the season's out.
To use Clyde fans that have now been outed as well.
That's it.
I know.
Thank you.
No one to hide for us all now. Ali, Ross, I might have forgot you were here, but thanks very much for
no problem.
Thanks very much again, as always, and thanks to everybody that's listening. You know, it's been a cracker this week. You know, we're back next week with some of the league reviews from the lower leagues, and everybody that's watching as well, because apparently I forgot you guys were here as well. So thanks very much. Cheers. I've been told off, and we're back obviously for the league review next week, and big Scottish Cup preview as well. You know, we've got Clyde involved, to get BSC involved, you know, all the lower league involved.
Ayr United involved.
Ayr United involved, you know, a cracker, you know, a great opportunity for them as well.
Big time.
It's going to be really good, and hopefully going to have some Celtic input to get their thoughts on going to Broadwood and facing Clyde, and I'm sure...
Spoiler, they're rattled.
They are already rattled. And no, but we're looking forward to having their input next week, getting their perspective.
Roy Keane Mark II, can't we?
Oh, I know. It's going to be a good one. The media kind of excitement's too much. I'm sure we'll talk about our plans for that Sunday as well. Thanks very much, everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, and we'll speak to you all next week. See you later.
Goodbye.
See you.
Bye.